Welcome to Scared Together, the channel where we explore the most terrifying and mysterious stories from around the world. Whether it's ghosts, aliens, monsters, or murderers, we'll face them all with courage and curiosity. Because we believe that being scared is more fun when we're not alone. So grab your popcorn, turn off the lights, and join us as we dive into the dark side of reality. Are you ready to be scared together? In the dimly lit corridors of paranormal history, one chilling tale stands as a haunting testament to the thin veil between the living and the dead. Nestled in the quaint village of Amityville, a house bore witness to unspeakable horrors that transcended the realm of the ordinary. Welcome to the eerie narrative of the Amityville Horror, a story that cloaks reality in shadows and sends shivers down the spine of those brave enough to peer into the abyss. In the mid-1970s, a seemingly idyllic suburban residence morphed into a house of malevolence, as a family moved into 112 Ocean Avenue, unknowingly stepping into a nightmarish dance with the supernatural. The walls of the house harbored a dark secret, and as the clock ticked away, the veil between the living and the dead began to thin, revealing a tapestry woven with paranormal threads. Whispers echoed through the halls, shadows danced in the corners of every room, and the air thickened with an otherworldly presence. The Amityville Horror unfolds as a bone-chilling chronicle of unexplained phenomena, levitating objects, malevolent voices, and a pervasive sense of dread that clung to the air like a spectral mist. As the events unfolded, each night became a descent into a realm where the ordinary rules of reality ceased to apply. The Amityville Horror is not just a tale. It is a chilling account that beckons us to question the boundaries of the known and the unknown. So, brace yourself as we embark on a journey into the heart of darkness, where the line between reality and the supernatural blurs, and the true horror of Amityville awaits those who dare to confront it. On the ominous night of November 13, 1974, the tranquil facade of 112 Ocean Avenue in Amityville, New York, shattered into a nightmare of unimaginable proportions. Ronald DeFeo Jr., commonly known as Butch, became the harrowing architect of a gruesome tragedy that would etch its name into the annals of true crime and paranormal lore. Butch DeFeo, aged 23 at the time, turned the family home into a house of horrors when he methodically carried out a heinous act of violence. Armed with a rifle, he brutally murdered his parents, Ronald Sr. and Louise, along with his 4 siblings, Dawn, Allison, Mark, and John Matthew. The cold-blooded massacre unfolded in the dead of night, as the unsuspecting victims lay asleep in their beds, oblivious to the impending terror that lurked within the walls of their own home. The details of that fateful night remain shrouded in darkness, with Butch DeFeo's motivations and the precise sequence of events still stirring speculation and intrigue. Some theories suggest that deep-seated family tensions and conflicts played a role, while others contemplate the possibility of external influences that may have driven Butch to commit such a ghastly act. The crime scene at 112 Ocean Avenue became a tableau of horror, forever staining the residents with the echoes of a tragedy that defied comprehension. Butch DeFeo's actions didn't just extinguish the lives of his family members. They cast a long, dark shadow over the house, setting the stage for the eerie events that would unfold later, the infamous tales that would become known as the Amityville Horror. The murders marked a chilling prologue to a saga that would captivate the world's imagination, blending elements of true crime and the supernatural. The question lingered: what malevolent force, if any, had descended upon the DeFeo family home, leaving it forever tainted by the bloodshed of that fateful night? The answer remained elusive, as the Amityville story continued to unravel, weaving a complex tapestry of horror that transcended the boundaries between the earthly and the ethereal. In the aftermath of the blood-drenched tragedy that unfolded at 112 Ocean Avenue, a web of deceit and denial encircled Ronald, Butch, DeFeo Jr. The nightmarish events of November 13, 1974, were immediately obscured by a macabre dance of lies, as Butch initially wove a narrative that sought to distance himself from the heinous acts committed within the confines of his family home. In a grotesque attempt to divert suspicion, Butch DeFeo claimed to have stumbled upon the lifeless bodies of his parents and siblings. A chilling concoction of shock and horror painted his initial account, as he implicated an external malevolent force, an alleged hitman, whom he accused of carrying out the brutal murders. This fabrication aimed to shield Butch from culpability, casting him as a victim rather than a perpetrator in the gruesome tapestry of the Amityville Horror. However, the veil of deception that Butch had hastily woven began to unravel under the scrutiny of investigators. As law enforcement delved deeper into the labyrinth of lies, the inconsistencies in Butch's story became apparent. Faced with mounting evidence and the inexorable weight of truth, Butch DeFeo's facade of innocence crumbled. In a shocking turn of events, Butch eventually confessed to the heinous crimes he had desperately tried to disown. The walls of denial echoed with the admission of guilt, revealing the horrifying reality that Butch himself had been the architect of the carnage that befell his family. The motive behind this gruesome act remained murky, clouded by Butch's troubled history and the complex dynamics within the DeFeo family. Subsequently, in November 1975, Ronald Butch DeFeo Jr. faced the consequences of his malevolent actions. He was convicted of second-degree murder, sealing his fate within the unforgiving walls of a prison cell. The legal proceedings brought a semblance of justice to the grieving community, but the haunting legacy of the Amityville Horror was only beginning to cast its spectral shadow over the infamous residence, setting the stage for the paranormal tales that would follow in its wake. The confessions of a disturbed son, entangled in the web of his own lies, marked a chilling prelude to a saga that would transcend the boundaries of crime and delve into the supernatural realms of horror. In the wake of the chilling DeFeo family tragedy, the stage was unwittingly set for another chapter in the eerie saga of 112 Ocean Avenue. A year after the gruesome murders, the Lutz family, consisting of George and Kathy Lutz and their 3 children, moved into the same house, unaware of the malevolent history that clung to the walls like an unseen specter. The Lutz family's initial impressions of their new home were innocuous, but it didn't take long for the veneer of normalcy to crack. Almost immediately, the atmosphere within the house began to shift, as though the residual echoes of the past had awakened to cast a haunting pall over the unsuspecting residents. Strange and inexplicable phenomena descended upon the Lutz household like an unrelenting storm. Unsettling noises echoed through the corridors, each creak and groan a disconcerting reminder of unseen forces. Foul odors permeated the air, defying explanation and lingering like a sinister presence. Cold spots materialized in rooms, chilling the very air with an otherworldly touch that left the family shivering in fear. The Lutzes' nights became a descent into a realm of terror as they reported witnessing visions of demonic entities that seemed to manifest from the darkest recesses of the supernatural. These apparitions defied the laws of the rational world, plunging the family into a harrowing battle against forces that seemed to transcend the boundaries of the living and the dead. As the paranormal activity escalated, the Lutz family's once-dream home transformed into a waking nightmare. Their days became a struggle against an unseen adversary, as the malevolent forces within 112 Ocean Avenue manifested in increasingly sinister ways. The house itself seemed to pulse with a malevolent energy, a dark undercurrent that twisted the very fabric of reality. The Lutz family's claims captivated the public imagination, drawing attention to the spectral tapestry woven within the walls of the Amityville house. Their experiences fueled the narrative of the Amityville Horror, a story that blurred the lines between fact and fiction, leaving an indelible mark on the world's collective psyche. Whether the events were a manifestation of trauma, a psychological phenomenon, or a genuine encounter with the supernatural, the chilling legacy of the Lutz family's ordeal cast a long shadow over the infamous residence, forever linking its name to the enigmatic horrors of Amityville. Amid the escalating supernatural turmoil that gripped the Lutz family in their new residence at 112 Ocean Avenue, the desperate quest for reprieve led them to seek solace in the arms of religion. In a desperate bid to exorcise the malevolent forces that seemed to have taken residence within the very walls of their home, the Lutzes reached out to the spiritual realm, inviting a priest to perform a blessing on the accursed abode. With solemn determination, a priest stepped into the ominous atmosphere of the house, armed with the sanctity of his faith and the conviction that the divine could banish the darkness that plagued the Lutz family. Little did he know that the entities that lurked within were not so easily swayed by the symbols of religious authority. As the priest commenced the sacred ritual, the air thickened with an almost palpable tension. The ritual intended to invoke benevolence and sanctity instead seemed to stir the very malevolence it sought to dispel. In the presence of the holy, the supernatural forces within the house revealed themselves, mocking the priest's attempts to purify the space. A chilling encounter unfolded as the priest confronted an unseen adversary. In the grip of a spiritual battle, he claimed to have encountered a malevolent force that defied explanation. The very fabric of the supernatural seemed to taunt the priest, as an unseen presence communicated its hostility with a menacing command, "Get out." This confrontation with an entity that not only resisted the divine, but actively commanded the priest to abandon his sacred mission added a disconcerting layer to the unfolding drama. It suggested an intelligence and malevolence that surpassed the bounds of the ordinary and thrust the supernatural narrative of the Amityville Horror into a realm where the spiritual and the diabolical coexisted in a disconcerting dance. The priest's encounter with the malevolent force became a pivotal moment in the Lutz family's harrowing ordeal, underscoring the inescapable grip that the house had on those who dared to confront the enigmatic horrors within. As the tale of Amityville continued to unfold, the priest's experience lingered as a haunting testament to the elusive and unsettling nature of the supernatural forces that seemed to have claimed 112 Ocean Avenue as their own. As the relentless assault of paranormal activity intensified within the confines of 112 Ocean Avenue, the Lutz family found themselves ensnared in a living nightmare. With each passing day, the malevolent forces seemed to tighten their grip on the household, driving the family to the brink of despair. After enduring 28 days of unrelenting terror, the Lutzes reached a breaking point. The oppressive atmosphere and the relentless onslaught of supernatural occurrences proved too much to bear. Fueled by fear and an instinct for self-preservation, the Lutz family made the gut-wrenching decision to abandon their once promising home. In a frenzied escape, they fled the malevolent clutches of 112 Ocean Avenue, leaving behind the horrors that had tormented them day and night. The haunting specter of their ordeal lingered as they sought refuge, their lives forever altered by the inexplicable and nightmarish events they had experienced. It was in the aftermath of their escape that the Lutzes sought to share their harrowing tale with the world. The enormity of their experiences, combined with the desire to shed light on the unexplained, led the family to collaborate with author Jay Anson. Together, they embarked on the daunting task of recounting the spine-chilling events that had unfolded within the walls of their former home. The fruit of their collaboration, titled The Amityville Horror, was published in 1977 and swiftly became a literary sensation. Jay Anson's masterful storytelling wove the Lutzes' accounts into a narrative that captivated readers worldwide. The book chronicled the family's descent into a supernatural abyss, detailing the strange occurrences, demonic visions, and malevolent forces that had besieged them during their brief but nightmarish occupancy of 112 Ocean Avenue. The Amityville Horror transcended the boundaries of traditional horror literature, blending elements of true crime and the supernatural. The Lutz family's tale resonated with a fascinated and terrified audience, propelling the book to bestseller status. The cultural impact of the narrative was profound, cementing the legend of Amityville as one of the most infamous and enduring paranormal tales of the 20th century. The Lutzes' decision to share their ordeal, immortalized in Anson's book, not only exposed the world to the horrors of Amityville, but also ignited a cultural phenomenon that would inspire numerous adaptations in film, television, and popular culture. The enduring legacy of the Amityville Horror continues to cast a spectral shadow, leaving an indelible mark on the collective imagination of those who dare to explore the realms where the supernatural and the real converge. The publication of The Amityville Horror not only unleashed a literary sensation, but also set the stage for a cinematic exploration of the supernatural horrors that had plagued 112 Ocean Avenue. In 1979, filmmakers brought the chilling narrative to the silver screen, marking the beginning of a series of films that would captivate and terrify audiences for years to come. The film adaptation, titled The Amityville Horror, took creative liberties with the source material, amplifying the horror and infusing the narrative with additional elements to heighten the sense of malevolence within the infamous house. Departing from a straightforward retelling, The filmmakers introduced the notion that the spirits haunting the residence were not merely the restless souls of the DeFeo family, but were also influenced by a dark history tied to a Native American burial ground. In this cinematic interpretation, the malevolent forces were portrayed as a convergence of supernatural entities, blending the residual trauma of the DeFeo murders with the disturbed spirits of the Native American burial ground upon which the house was built. This narrative twist added layers of complexity to the haunting, suggesting that the spiritual malevolence predated the DeFeo tragedy and was rooted in a dark history that permeated the very land on which the house stood. The success of the first film paved the way for a series of sequels and spin-offs, each delving deeper into the nightmarish legacy of Amityville. The subsequent films explored various aspects of the haunting, from prequels that delved into the origins of the supernatural malevolence to sequels that continued to weave tales of terror around the infamous residence. Throughout the film series, the house at 112 Ocean Avenue remained a central character, its foreboding architecture and haunted history becoming synonymous with the very essence of the Amityville legend. The films amplified the horror, utilizing visual effects, atmospheric tension, and psychological terror to convey the chilling experiences of the Lutz family and the malevolent entities that seemingly lurked within the shadows. The Amityville film series became a cultural touchstone, influencing the horror genre and solidifying the house's reputation as one of the most haunted locations in popular culture. While the cinematic adaptations took creative liberties with the factual accounts, they undeniably contributed to the enduring mystique and terror associated with the Amityville horror, ensuring that the legend would continue to haunt the collective imagination of audiences around the world. The veracity of the Lutz family's haunting tale at 112 Ocean Avenue has long been a subject of controversy and skepticism. Despite the initial widespread belief in the supernatural events described in the Amityville Horror, numerous sources have since disputed and debunked the authenticity of the Lutz family's story. One significant challenge to the credibility of the account came from William Weber, the lawyer who had defended Ronald DeFeo Jr. during his trial for the murder of his family. In a startling revelation, Weber admitted that he and the Lutzes had collaborated to fabricate the entire horror story. According to Weber, the concoction of the paranormal narrative took place over a series of meetings fueled by many bottles of wine. The admission by Weber raised serious doubts about the integrity of the Lutzes' claims. It suggested that the supernatural events described in their accounts, including demonic visions, unexplained noises, and otherworldly phenomena, were not authentic experiences, but rather a calculated effort to generate publicity and potentially profit from the notoriety surrounding the infamous house. Weber's revelation didn't just cast a shadow over the Lutz family's credibility, but also fueled speculation about the motivations behind fabricating such a sensationalized tale. Some suggested that the Lutzes, facing financial difficulties, saw an opportunity to capitalize on the public's fascination with the paranormal by creating a compelling narrative around their brief and tumultuous tenure at 112 Ocean Avenue. As news of the fabricated story spread, critics of the Amityville horror narrative seized upon Weber's admission as evidence that the entire saga was a hoax. Skeptics argued that the inconsistencies in the Lutzes' accounts and the lack of corroborating evidence cast serious doubt on the supernatural claims made in the Amityville Horror. The controversy surrounding the authenticity of the Amityville events has persisted for decades, with believers and skeptics engaged in a perpetual debate over the true nature of the haunting. While the Lutzes maintained their stance that they experienced genuine paranormal activity, the specter of doubt lingered, leaving the story of Amityville eternally entangled in a web of mystery, skepticism, and controversy. Despite the passage of time and the ever-changing landscape of Amityville, the infamous house at 112 Ocean Avenue remains a tangible piece of the town's dark history. However, the property has undergone transformations over the years, reflecting the ongoing efforts to distance it from the enduring legacy of the Amityville Horror. The house, still standing today, has witnessed multiple renovations and changes in ownership. Each new occupant faced the challenge of reconciling the property's haunting past with the desire for a semblance of normalcy and peace. The allure and notoriety associated with the Amityville legend have, in turn, contributed to a certain level of difficulty in maintaining the property as a conventional residence. To dissuade the influx of tourists and curiosity seekers who sought to catch a glimpse of the infamous house, subsequent owners have taken measures to protect their privacy and restore a sense of normalcy to the neighborhood. One significant step in this direction was the decision to change the address from 112 Ocean Avenue to 108 Ocean Avenue. This alteration was intended to redirect the attention of those who might be drawn to the residence due to its association with the Amityville Horror. Changing the address was part of a broader strategy to minimize the impact of the property's dark history on the lives of those residing there. The hope was that by doing so, the house could be viewed as just another residence in the picturesque town of Amityville, rather than a symbol of supernatural horror and tragedy. Despite these efforts, the Amityville house continues to hold a prominent place in the cultural consciousness, perpetually linked to the mysterious and the macabre. The legend, fueled by books, films, and ongoing public interest, ensures that the property will forever be shrouded in an aura of enigma and fear. While the town has moved forward, the echoes of the Amityville Horror still linger, embedded in the very framework of the house at 108 Ocean Avenue. That's all for today, my fellow spooky adventurers. I hope you enjoyed the stories we shared and learned something new and terrifying. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more spooky content. And don't forget to hit the like and subscribe icons to get notified when we upload our next video. You don't want to miss it, trust me. Until then, stay safe, stay curious, and stay scared together. Goodbye for now, and sweet dreams.